Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Perspective. We'll be talking about the latest political situation, of course, with the PML-N leading the politics of reconciliation. How far, is it going to be possible for all political parties to merge their collective wisdom into a kind of politics of reconciliation, which is being talked about. We'll be talking about this overall. The return of Nawaz Sharif Saab with his statements like he doesn't believe in revenge, he doesn't want there to be any kind of revenge taking measures, he doesn't want there to be any kind of crackdown, so to speak. He wants there to be an across the board agreement as far as political parties are concerned to have to move towards elections, which is also a demand of all political parties. We'll be talking about the ramifications of these meetings that are being talked about as far as the PTI is concerned. The other political parties saying that there is, according to them, no level playing field. Are we going to be looking at a change with regard to that? As far as overall the electoral campaign is concerned, the role of the Election Commission is concerned. We've also, of course, had the Election Commission issue statements saying that there are no chances of there being an extension as far as or a delay in the upcoming elections. All of that today on Perspective. I have with me today Aniq Zafar, who's a senior analyst. Thank you so much for being with us today. We also have with us Rafique Rajwana Sahab, the former governor from Punjab. Thank you for joining us. Let me start off with Rajwana Sahab. Rajwana Sahab, can you hear me?
Can you speak a bit loud, ma'am?
Ji. Can you hear me now?
Yes, a bit more loud.
PML-N and Mia Nawaz Sharif Saab's return and his statements that have come overall as far as the PML-N is concerned are, talking about a politics of reconciliation, of moving forward. When we talk about the events of 9th May, the shock of it, the healing from it, all of that has been said. What kind of a reconciliation does the PML-N expect from the future, immediate future, and what, as far as the role of other political parties, how do you see it happening?
I think it's a good idea, and let's appreciate the offer given by Mia Nawaz Sharif Saab during his speech at the historical gathering in Minar-e-Pakistan plot. There was huge gathering. I was also present there. The idea of reconciliation is must for Pakistan. It is the duty of every political party, registered political party, who intends to participate in the elections, and particularly the major rival parties, that they should sit together and have a reconciliation plan in the sense, we may recall it, that it may be a charter of democracy also, but we have to revamp that charter of democracy also, which was executed, entered into, and mostly implemented by Pakistan People's Party and PML-N. Now there is another major stakeholder, PTI, another JUI, MQM, Jamaat-e-Islami. They should sit together, and you were just saying that there should be a collective wisdom. When we talk about the collective wisdom, then it is not a political wisdom alone. It is the thinking about far-reaching results and far-reaching impact also. We have to take care of the perception developed in the people at large, that how much they have been benefited by the political parties and how much the country has been damaged or the country has suffered because of the tug of war in between the political parties, criticism, and particularly maligning the political leaders or using some sort of bad language. I will not say anything else. So we have to be careful now that the society is expecting that the political parties are the people who have to run the country, who have to serve the people. If they are fighting with each other, if they are not using good language, if they are attacking the, rather I would say that character assassination, and I would say that character assassination is worse than the assassination itself. So, in order
Again
to
and again, is this the reason?
Ji, Rajwana sir, what you are talking about, I think, is very important. It's very relevant. It's to the politics of today, and perhaps it is the most important facet of where things are going, politically speaking, for our country, regardless of which political party actually gets ahead in the upcoming elections. Let me come back to you on that. Please stay with us. I'm going to go to Aniq Sahab. Aniq Sahab, what Rajwana Sahab is saying, in terms of the image that we are looking at. The image of political parties, the image of all political parties has suffered. Whether it's, whichever political party, like I said, wins the elections, is ahead in the elections, is irrelevant to the kind of blow it's been to the image. Moving forward, is it going to be a step to, to set the purview of where and how the political leaders are going to engage with each other? Is it going to be that, in your opinion, as what Rajwana Sahab is talking about?
When you were talking about concept of political reconciliation, and I was thinking that perhaps political reconciliation may be too far-fetched an idea right now. But at least there should be politics. There should not be politics of mutual self-destruction. What we have seen is that the parties have constantly engaged into that kind of debate, and we have seen it in the 80s, in the 90s. Then obviously there was a military intervention. After that, there was a realization between the two large parties that they should have a reconciliation. They signed a Charter of Democracy. There are some very good points in that. They made progress on that, some of the ideas, but now again we are seeing that after PTI came in, there was some sort of shake-up of the established order. Give that credit to PTI, but whether that was positive or negative is entirely a different debate. But we have now seen that this new emergence of this new media, social media, the political parties are again entering into very vicious debates. Now I am seeing that this may even happen between PPP and PML-N, which were partners just a few months back. So someone has to take lead. Right now, Mia Nawaz Sharif has the stature, has the he is the most senior politician in the country. So if he takes that initiative, tries to bring down all the stakeholders on one table, and they all agree that they have to contest elections under a code of conduct, that they have to accept the election results, that, and after that, whatever government comes in, it has to understand that governance has two parts. One is administrative part, policy part, the other part is stakeholder management part.
Okay,
and that is the most crucial part where most of our political governments have failed.
Right. I'm going to let me include Dr. Abid Abbasi in the discussion. Abid Sahab, there is, we were talking about the fact that are there going to be parameters set when you talk about politics of reconciliation between political parties so that there's no fallout. At this time, it doesn't seem to be at the end of the day for people, for the voters, one political party that's a loser. The image of politicians as a whole, it seems to have suffered. Do you think that's what is going to be on the agenda for all political parties?
Thank you very much, Mahrukh. I think this is need of the time now, because we have seen so many ups and downs in the democratic process in Pakistan. As my dear colleague has mentioned, that in 90s, the two parties, they were at loggerheads, or they were, using very much, sort of animosity against one another, not the political rivalry. And eventually they have learned a lesson. In 2006, we have seen a Charter of Democracy, and that Charter of Democracy is actually a way forward to pave way for the democratic process to continue in this country. But later on, when we have seen, as the gentleman has already mentioned, that PTI and his chairman, he has used the very obnoxious language, very questionable language in the public jalsas, and he has developed personal animosity, and that was trickled down to the workers and the party office bearers, and they have used that sort of very harsh words against their political rivals, and he has not shown that much acumen, political acumen, to sit down with the opposing political parties, the opposition of his government, and later on the government incumbent, to
have a working relationship, which is
not
what
only the working relationship, but to have some sort of way forward for the political process too, because there are the opposition and the government both have a constitutional role in the democratic dispensation, but unfortunately the previous government of PTI has not accepted that constitutional role even by appointing the election commissioner or by appointing the other, the institution, state institution. There was a mandatory requisite for opposition leader and the Prime Minister to sit together, but he has not even done that.
Let me go to Zahid Gishkori Sahab. On that note, I'll come back to you. Ji, Zahid Sahab, do you think there's going to be, do you think the political parties are going to be able to sit together, first of all, as a journalist? Do you see it happening at all? Because even at this time, and I'm going to ask Rajwana Sahab this also, there is another, a major political party is crying that there is no level playing field. Two rather major political parties are saying this at this time. Do you think there's going to be a chance that there will be that sit down, there will be that, look at long-term effects of this, long-term advantages of this at all?
I'm very grateful, Mr. Mahrukh. This is a very important question, and this is absolutely need of the day in Pakistan politics. There seems to be signs, Mahrukh, because for the first time we were talking about Pakistan.
Zahid Sahab, Ji, can you hear me?
Can you hear me, Mahrukh?
Ji.
Can you hear me?
Ji.
Actually, I was saying this, that Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, there seemed to be sign that was in attempt to engage other political parties for the first time in the past 4 years, because its leadership, which is not in jail, they met, the day before yesterday with the JUIF chief, the former speaker, National Assembly, Asad Kaisar, and other second-tier leadership of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf. It seemed that they understood finally that this is the only way for the party to get some space in the upcoming political momentum country is now going to generate. But one thing is very important, it seemed to be a reverse political engineering. In 2018, we were discussing at your program that many political parties were complaining that they were not getting justice, the level playing field. And at the moment in 2023, even Pakistan People's Party is complaining that they are not getting level playing field. We understand that PTI, after 9th May episode, the incident occurred to the party, were not in a good book, obviously, but they have made, a huge political mistake, and they are now facing it. And I don't see any rehabilitation, recovery, and reconstruction of this political party, even in the 1.5 years to go. But Pakistan People's Party, a seasoned party, obviously it's also complaining, but Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz is getting momentum, and it's a surprise for many as well that the political momentum they are generating following the former premier return to Pakistan. I mean, the political show of Nawaz Sharif in Lahore triggered a new political debate in Pakistan history. Even people are saying now that there is a deal, and they are talking about and this talk of the town. Otherwise, we don't know what the exact position is, but there seems that there are some options that Pakistan Muslim League Noon might be taking the lead in upcoming election. But Other smaller political parties are also trying to gather people's support. It's a Tehreek-e-Istehkam party. We understand that it's mobilizing people, particularly in Punjab, South Punjab. They talked in South Punjab, which ever been a very crucial territory for the politics. 34 members National Assembly from three districts of South Punjab always uh, played decisive role. We don't know that what would happen in the upcoming general election, but it's correct. And other in the other side, in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf parliamentarian led by two former chief ministers of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, they are now uh, getting and showing their political muscle and powers in different parts of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa.
We don't know what the makeup will be with all these political parties. Let me go to Rafique Rajwana Saab. Rajwana Saab, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, a bit loud.
Rajwana Saab, there is, I hope you heard what,
Yes, yes, I'm hearing comfortable.
Okay, Rajwana Saab, there is, a lot of that is being said, like you heard what Zahid Saab said about Mia Saab's return. And the fact that, the ramifications, the fact that the PML-N may be, the most popular party in the upcoming elections. How would you respond to these kind of assertions?
Which kind of, I couldn't listen properly. To which thing I have to respond? Kindly repeat the question.
A lot is being associated with Mia Saab's return. A lot is being said that he has, the fact, the way that the treatment, the overall treatment of Mia Saab, the way that he's been welcomed, seems to indicate that perhaps, the largest beneficiary of the next elections may be PML-N. How would you respond to this?
It's not the question of beneficiary to being anybody but beneficiary regarding the next coming election. The question is that Mia Saab was away because of his own treatment, and he was sent with the consent of the then government. Anyhow, that was very hotly discussed why he's not coming back. Once he has come back, and he was supposed to come back, and he has come back. Now, after his arrival back in Pakistan and holding a mammoth gathering at Minare, Pakistan, now definitely it has thrown a challenge to the other political parties. Now, there can be so many allegations of that they are not being provided the level playing field. I think that with all due respect to my friends who say that they are not having the level playing field, God forbid, had Mia Saab been arrested, had Mia Saab been sent to jail, that means a level playing field. That is not a level playing field. We had never a level playing field since 2018. Till today, we had not a level playing field. That is quite obvious, and that everybody knows now how the election of 2018 was managed, or was it rigged, and whatsoever was the cause, everybody knows it. There is no need of repeating this. Now we are heading towards another election. If before that election, just on the question of the relief being given by the courts, the appeals were already admitted, the appeals were already under consideration, the sentences were already suspended, and the appeals, after having been dismissed due to non-prosecution, have been restored to the original position on which those appeals were pending when Mia Saab left for Pakistan, left from Pakistan. So nothing wrong has gone. Nothing is so serious that the people should say that there's no level playing field. Let's go forward. Let's improve our thinking. We should not repeat the past history of politicizing everything. I think that instead of having such a political mileage on mere allegations or mere apprehensions, let's wait for the election and let's go for the election. And every party should go to the people and they should convince, they should sell their product of attracting the people that they should vote for them, and they will, when they come into power, they run the government, there will be governance, there will be a good economy, stable economy. But I think that is not to stabilize the economy, it's not the only job of the government which has to come. It should be a collective decision, and all the political parties should decide that they should have a think tank consisting of the economists, the managers, the human resource managers, the foreign investment experts, and plus the stakeholders, the representative from Federation of Chamber of Commerce, the representative of the major chambers of commerce, and I think every representative from each and every uh, pivotal industry. And then they should sit together.
Fair enough. Rajwana Sahab, let me please stay with us. I'll just come back to you. I'm going to go to Aniq Sahab. Aniq Sahab, what Rajwana Sahab is talking about is this collective wisdom and moving forward and the assertions that are flying back and forth. He, as a mature politician, he says that there's no place for that anymore. Do you think that in the kind of, the credibility of elections may become an issue at all?
Well, given the history of Pakistan's elections, the losing parties have always objected to the elections results. We rarely had an election where
all parties
sort of agreed. Maybe 2008 was an exception in the last at least 20-30 years, that 2008 election was not that, the results were not that contested. It was generally agreed that.
But we also had an unfortunate assassination.
Everyone wanted the transition from Musharraf era to a democratic era, and then obviously some parties had boycotted. So there was a macrocosm of different factors which helped that election with some stability and no contest. And as you know, the then Prime Minister was given vote of confidence by the whole House. So that was perhaps, so coming back to the next elections, I think every stakeholder should work extra hard to ensure that there is credibility of the elections. But as some of the senior politicians like Mr. Shahid Abbasi, again a former Prime Minister, has been asserting that elections in current circumstances are not the solution. So perhaps he is alluding to exactly what Rajwana Sahab is also alluding, that we have to, our political forces and major stakeholders first have to decide how they want to move forward. How do they want this country to run? And once elections are held, are we ready to give the next government full authority, time to implement its policies? Then at least there should be a consensus amongst parties on, for example, the privatization plan or the investment policy, like we are going to attempt attracting investment under SIFC. So what will be the future of SIFC when a new government comes in? Will it stay in the same shape? Will it have the ownership of the other political forces? So all these questions should be addressed. And as I said, that somebody has to take a lead and gather the parties under one platform and try to move forward. Political parties should contest elections on their manifestos, not on the basis of allegations and counter-allegations.
Fair enough. Abid Sahab, do you think it's going to be a possibility? Because, on the one hand, okay, we can talk about reconciliation, we can talk about coming together, all of that. But at the end of the day, each political party has to contest on their own manifesto. And already there are cries of there not being a level playing field, there being a level playing field or not for all political parties. So getting all political parties together in that kind of a scenario, and then Aniq Sahab is saying that, perhaps no elections, all political parties are united on the fact that they all want timely election. We also have an election commission that is again and again refuting any kind of, rumor monging and saying that there's no chance that there's going to be a delay. So do you think that there's, a chance that things might not move in that direction?
Election must, be held on the given time, which is the constitutional requirement. We have, a lot of history that is not very much favorable in past for democracy, but there are some, weightage in the allegations of the political parties as well, because this is very much essential and mandatory that there should be arrangements that all political parties, all stakeholders should have sort of at least confidence in that elections. But at the same time, there are some sort of extra leverage being demanded by some of the political parties that cannot be given. But the elections should be fair, transparent, and credible in the eyes of those institutions as well, which are independent, impartial, national and international, which are working. If we talk about the the riggings in the elections and maneuvering in the elections in past, there are very solid evidences against those elections. Even people usually do say that the elections of 1970, they were fair and the rather the most fair elections in the history of Pakistan. But in fact, those elections were also having very much flaws. Some of the money was involved in those elections. Later on, Bhutto, when he came into power, he established a commission, and that commission has given some sort of proofs that money was taken back and submitted in the public exchequer. Similarly, the elections being held in Pakistan, as Aniq Zafar rightly said, the 2008 elections were comparatively accepted largely by the people, but there were some political parties who boycotted. The problem actually creators were not in the process of the elections in those elections. And then we do not have a good history, but this is the right time because Pakistan is suffering from so many quote-unquote disease. The people of Pakistan are suffering price hike, the unprecedented in the history. We are facing, the salaried class, the labor class, more than 42% people of this country are living below the poverty line, and from 26 to 42, this ratio was, increased during last couple of years. So this is the drastic situation. I think these are not the common elections. These are not the the mere elections, but these are the decision maker in the history of Pakistan. So should all play a very mature and very positive role, or not to get extra maneuver. For instance, if the Nawaz Sharif Saab is getting some sort, because this is the sore reality that he was treated so much favorably, because even the machines were taken to the plane to get his biometric, and similarly so many. Some of the people have the view that he should have been in the jail first, then his appeals should be listened by the courts. There are so many other things which are people, as Gishkori said, that there is an atmosphere in the capital that has everything has been, even litigities have been decided before the elections. This impression should be ruled out.
Yes, but overall,
because the elections are very crucial time and the crucial event in the history of Pakistan.
Are we going to be, the role that the NAB has played traditionally in our politics? And I think I'll go to
but that should be all the stakeholders, the other political parties should also be treated in the same way.
Yes.
If the NAB is so much cruel, and that was cruel actually, that was unjust, but this treatment should be given to all the people.
Historically speaking, NAB's prosecution has never been very strong. And for them, Rajwana Saab, for NAB, for us to be able to point out those deficiencies now and to say that, the way that Panama happened, the way that, Mia Saab was disqualified, the way that, history is there for everyone to see. And now, when those things are being overturned, whether you talk about the Avonfield case or you talk about Al-Azizia or other cases also, victimization in politics should become, a chapter in history that no one wants to go back to. Isn't that true?
I would take support from the judgments of the Supreme Court while dealing with the NAB cases, and particularly while dealing with the bail applications of Khaja brothers, Saad Rafique and Khaja Salman Rafique, and other cases also, the observations given and the concern shown by the Supreme Court in those judgments. And the other cases which were manufactured by NAB just for political victimization and twisting the arms of the political rivals, that is just quite clear. And keeping that thing in view, when the people say about this Al-Azizia reference, Evanfield reference, and then the Panama case in which the matter was pending regarding Panama issues offshore companies. And eventually the question was raised and the word receivable was the definition was borrowed from Black Law Dictionary or Oxford Dictionary that what is meant by receivable, and Miyasa was disqualified for life on the ground that some salary was in the record receivable, was being shown as receivable from his son. He did not declare it, so he is not Sadiq and nor Amin, so he was disqualified for life. This was a bad law, and people know, and the people of wisdom also know, who have prudence, that the same court or the same judges, almost the then Chief Justice, while dealing with another identical case, had observed that that was a black law. And the punishment given to Mia Saab. Mia Saab hails from a very famous industrial family. And I would say if somebody gets hold of the statement under Section 342, which is the right of an accused to give before the trial court, Mia Saab had given in writing his statement under Section 342 in these NAB references. And when the day on which he had to submit that statement, I was also with Mia Nawaz Sharif Saab in the court, in the NAB court, and Mia Saab showed it to me. And the first line was that what was he in 1971, and when he was studying, and what their family was doing, the business at that time, and there was no politics. Then none from the family had ever joined the politics at all. And now the time has gone now. So keeping this thing in view, if the NAB cases, I said, I, I, I don't say if, I say the NAB cases are false, fabricated, and maneuvered. So in that case, if the NAB realizes, suppose for the sake of argument, I'm also a legal practitioner. When the question comes before the court and the court puts a question to the prosecutor that what to say, how is this point? In some cases, the prosecutor concedes that the investigation was not proper, that it seems to be not a good case. So in that eventuality, if the court has to do justice and the NAB feels that injustice was done to the people, and particularly in these cases, if they state something before the court, there is nothing strange. Now, if with a proper mindset, I think if I'm a positive thinker, if I think with positivity, then I will say it is possible that the NAB had fabricated these cases. If my mindset is negative, if I hail from another political party and I go on repeating the word that is this is not providing the level playing field, this is concession being shown by NAB, this is the concession being shown by the court. Let's be true Pakistani and let's believe in justice. And let's believe that if something has been done wrong to anybody, I will say even to Imran Khan, he should be given justice. He should be given relief. If Mia Saab was victimized, if the relief, these are minor reliefs, which are being, for which noise is being made and the voices are being raised and raising eyebrows that the relief is being given. I don't agree with them. Please, for God's sake, wait for the final judgments. But politics apart, you have to go to the field. And every political party has a right to have political mileage, but not on the basis of negativity, but positivity.
Fair enough.
Political mileage.
Let me come back to you. I think it's. Let me go to Zahid Saab. Zahid Saab, can you hear me?
Yes, Mahrukh.
Zahid Saab, do you think, I mean, of course, you know, positivity is important, having faith is important, what Rajwana Saab is talking about, but, you know, it becomes a little difficult when a party is on the receiving end of things, certainly. In your opinion, what kind of a role do you see PTI playing in the upcoming elections as a journalist?
Mahrukh, it's a very tough question. Seriously, since 2018, I haven't seen anything on the part of PTI. Either was not in the government, and later on they got opportunity to rule the country. They never engaged any political party, neither in the parliament nor outside the parliament. And it's true, and this is exactly what the country is facing now. This is the outcome of not engaging other leading political parties, political opponents, not only in the parliament but also outside the parliament. And this is the issue. What exactly happened to PTI on 9th May? And after a long time, they understood last week that they should now seem to be begging to other political parties, even JUIF, it's a rival, arch rival for PTI. They fought their force to at least get some level playing field in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, which has been a hub otherwise. 9.5 years, this party ruled the province. So I'm not blaming the party overall. I'm blaming the leadership of this party, basically, because these are the facts. It's not a blame otherwise, which on the ground, part of history now. It's a good political party, 27-year-long political struggle by any political leader, and giving a good political support to the country. And it's perhaps a national party everywhere, like Pakistan People's Party, like Pakistan Muslim League Noon, which was taking the lead. But unfortunately, what happened to the party, I don't see any reconstruction or rehabilitation. But, time has ever been an opportunity for political parties, and timing is always very important in politics, and you can remark at any time. If now they understood, they realized that they should engage with the party, and we are talking about level playing field. In my opinion, that it's the job of political leadership of all leading political parties, at least 13 or 15 parliamentary parties of this country. They should come up and should give any charter for democracy, for politics, and the challenges this country is facing, particularly on the economic front. And they should come up and give, tell their agenda at least. We have at least 3.5 months to go, at least, maybe 2.5 months.
It should be about agendas, it should be about manifestos rather than any name calling, rather than the kind of politics that we've seen, abusive style of politics that we've seen earlier on. Let me go to Abid Sab. Abid Sab, the same question to you. What kind of a role do you see PTI playing in the next elections?
I think there are some sort of, very genuine cases against them. Some of, most probably, some of political, maneuvering is also there. They most probably, in some cases, they are not, dealt in a justful manner. Similarly, the way that this atmosphere is created by them, by their leader or by the party stalwarts, because
but we've
they
even
have
had the PML-N leadership say that they want to forget about the acrimony that existed, and it's not about they agree that there are good people in the party as far as the PTI is concerned. Also, statements like that have been made by the PPP also. So there seems to be maybe a kind of atmosphere of inclusiveness at this time. Would you agree with that?
It is the requirement of the day. It is the requirement of the day, because democracy means taking people together. It's a collective wisdom. The people, inclusiveness and the broad-based consensus, at least at some point. This is what democracy is. But unfortunately, the PTI and its chairman and some of the stalwarts, or rather majority of those people, they have created a very polluted atmosphere in this country, politically speaking. That was very much, they have used that language against those political leaders. Unfortunately, now, and at the end, they have to approach those political leaders. As Gishkori said, that day before yesterday, we have seen a scene that some of the leaders of PTI, they reached to the residence, apparently to condole on his, the mother-in-law's death. But I think in politics, we should not cross those limits that we could not sit together, at least on a broader agenda for the country. But this atmosphere is created by PTI. Having said that, I think it is the time when the people from PTI and the other stakeholders should also create an atmosphere, forget about the past, and just try to have a new beginning out of this beginning.
But at this time, we need a government that overall is a government that everybody believes in. We need a government that has a broad-based agenda. We need a government that is a strong government. And yet, the stage seems
credible
to be
as well.
Credible, of course.
In result of a credible elections.
Yes, but Aniq Sahab, overall, the stage seems to be set for, not a very strong kind of government. At this time, we don't know what will happen in the elections, of course.
I mean, I think some of the participants here in the show also have been saying that, or some of the political parties, including PML itself, has been projecting as if they have already won the election, and Mr. Mohammad Nawaz Sharif, former Prime Minister, is a sure shot next Prime Minister. For the fourth time he will step into the office. But as we all know that there are still cases that need to be decided. There is still the question of disqualification. We discussed perhaps in the last program also that is something also that is going to be a matter of litigation.
But whoever becomes...
So I'm saying, I'm referring to your question that...
strong government...
What do we mean by strong government? Now, what we have seen is that even governments with the simple majority or the two-third majority falter. That is normally considered the strong government. So I'll reiterate the fact that the strong government will be able to manage the political and other stakeholders of the state masterfully. That will be the strong government. Otherwise,
regardless of the numbers.
Regardless of the numbers, that will be a strong government. And that is why we are stressing that the process of reconciliation or process of at least agreeing on a bare minimum economic, political, foreign policy agenda should be set before the elections. There should be a process where people should interact, contest election on their policy platforms. But obviously there are interests of the state of Pakistan which can be defined, and those should not be compromised, right? Otherwise, the economic policy, obviously some parties believe in aggressive market forces, some parties believe in distribution of wealth. So that is how politics all over the world is.
They have to fight elections on their own respective manifestos, their own respective...
Question only is that whether you are contesting elections on the policy platforms or you are contesting elections on the basis of cases and counter cases and arrests and counter arrests and all that.
Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have. Thank you so much for being with us. Rafique Rajwana Saab, thank you for joining us today. Dr. Abid Abbasi, thank you for being with us. Aniq Zafar Saab, thank you for joining us. Zahid Gishkori Saab, thank you for your time. Overall, whether one, how much importance one gives the issue of reconciliation, it certainly seems to be an extremely integral part of Pakistani politics at this time. Where, like we all agreed, perhaps it is the time to set a broad-based agenda based on what is best for the country moving forward at this time, and politics not being based on abusive discourse or a discourse that is being undertaken to drag each other down. It is about Pakistan, it is about respective manifestos and every political party finding their own place in the political framework, depending on the votes that the people choose, the way whoever people choose, and with however margin. But the question is, are we going to have to put Pakistan first, and we are going to have to agree to broad-based agenda, and perhaps we will see that kind of reconciliation move forward. We will see that kind of a step forward for all political parties to walk into the elections then. Thank you so much for joining us today on Perspective.